Have you ever considered how self-pleasure changes as we age? Masturbation can take on totally new meanings as we age, providing warmth, connection, and healing. But what happens when it evolves from a healthy habit into something more complex? In this video, we'll look at the raw truth of masturbation in old age, from the powerful benefits to the emotional struggles that many people endure. Stay with us until the end to learn how achieving balance can have a significant impact on your physical and emotional health. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, I recommend clicking the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell to remain up to speed on all of our current material. Let's delve deep into the often misunderstood and highly sensitive topic of pleasure in old age, breaking down myths and confronting the raw reality of how this intimate practice can shape the lives of those who engage in it, both through liberating joys and more complicated emotional undertones. This talk is intended to touch the hearts of adults, particularly those navigating the difficult journey of their later years. Masturbation is much more than a simple physical act. It is an investigation of one's deepest wishes, a haven of self-connection that can relax the mind, body, and spirit. Regardless of age, the ability to provide physical pleasure while relieving emotional tension is an undeniable aspect of the human experience. However, as we age, this technique becomes increasingly complicated. The body, once propelled by youthful intensity, begins to undergo a series of natural changes, including hormonal alterations, changed physical sensitivity, and changing desire rhythms. Nonetheless, despite the inevitable physical changes pleasure endures, it merely grows more intricate, intimate, and meaningful. Masturbation can become an intimate means for older people to recover a very personal connection with their aging bodies. Sexual desire may not be as strong as it once was due to falling testosterone and estrogen levels, but it lingers and awaits exploration in calmer, more meaningful ways. The act of self-stimulation becomes an empowering act of rediscovery, free of the often overwhelming expectations or pressures that intimacy and youth might impose. It is a place where people may reconnect with their body's wants and desires, recognizing that pleasure is still a real, life-affirming experience regardless of age. The advantages, both physical and emotional, are significant. Medical research regularly shows that regular self-pleasure has a variety of benefits, particularly for older persons. Physically, it helps to maintain blood flow to the vaginal area, keeping key tissues healthy and resistant to atrophy, which is a typical problem caused by neglect. But maybe more. Importantly, the emotional and psychological benefits are immeasurable. Masturbation produces endorphins, powerful happiness hormones that alleviate tension, anxiety, and despair, boosting the soul in ways that few other activities can. In old age, this activity acts as a reminder that we are still alive, capable of delight, and deserving of great personal happiness. It is a method to honor the body's desires without shame, guilt, or society judgment, accepting the notion that the journey of pleasure continues in various but equally lovely ways till the end of life. When an older person masturbates, they receive more than just a fleeting moment of physical relief. It has a deeper, long-term influence on their general well-being, particularly in terms of enhancing sleep quality. Restful sleep becomes increasingly important for sustaining physical and mental health as we get older, and the relaxation that comes with self-pleasure can assist to relieve tension and allow for a more tranquil night's sleep. Masturbation has a far greater psychological impact than one may expect. It becomes an effective tool for self-awareness and self-compassion, allowing older persons to reclaim a sense of agency over their bodies that may have been lost due to the impacts of aging. In a world where growing older frequently brings emotions of vulnerability, loss of control, and in some cases detachment from one's own body, masturbation provides an opportunity to recapture some of that control. It's an opportunity to feel connected to oneself, to see one's physical appearance as a source of comfort rather than disappointment. This newfound connection boosts self-esteem and helps people adopt a more positive and accepting attitude towards their aging bodies, which can be extremely empowering. However, like with other delightful pursuits, there is a boundary that, if passed, can transform this intimate activity from beneficial to possibly destructive. When masturbation becomes excessive or compulsive, particularly in older adults, it can have serious medical and emotional effects that should not be ignored. Physically, overstimulation of the genital nerves can induce increased sensitivity, which may appear pleasant at first but can cause discomfort or a temporary loss of sensation, hypertime. This hypersensitivity can cause a frustrating loop in which people require progressively intense stimulation to achieve the same amount of pleasure. The upshot is a developing sensation of dissatisfaction, if not dread, as the once simple act of self-pleasure no longer brings the same amount of fulfillment. The most significant impact of excessive masturbating in old age, however, is emotional rather than physical. In my experience, many elderly folks use masturbation to relieve more painful feelings of loneliness, worry, or sadness. As we get older, our social relationships may deteriorate, our family dynamics may change, and many people are left to face the alienating stillness of existence without the regular company of loved ones. Masturbation can provide a brief respite, allowing you to temporarily forget about the pain of loneliness. However, when it becomes the major or only source of consolation, it can exacerbate the emotional void, resulting in a vicious cycle of dependency that further isolates the individual. This emotional isolation can be particularly damaging for older persons since it frequently goes unrecognized. The more someone withdraws into the isolated realm of self-stimulation, the less likely they are to seek meaningful, fulfilling relationships with others. While masturbation in moderation can be a healthy form of sexual expression, when it becomes a substitute for human interaction and emotional fulfillment, it can leave a person feeling more alone than ever, cocooned in a bubble of self-imposed isolation. Finally, as with anything, balance is essential. Masturbation can be a highly satisfying and restorative habit in old age, providing physical relief, emotional connection, and a sense of empowerment. However, when it goes too far, it can become a shadow of itself, causing dissatisfaction, loneliness, and emotional reliance. The path to achieving that balance is personal, requiring honesty, self-awareness, and, most crucially, self-compassion. Instead of seeking connection, affection, or emotional support, some people may turn to self-stimulation as a coping mechanism, gradually withdrawing from their surroundings. This dependency on masturbation can exacerbate emotional separation, resulting in a severe sensation of loneliness. What do medical research show regarding masturbating in old age? Masturbation is not intrinsically hazardous, according to clinical studies. When used in moderation, it can provide several health benefits. However, as with any behavior, when practiced excessively, it can have unforeseen consequences that affect both the body and the mind. Numerous research have focused on the potential effects of compulsive masturbation in older adults, especially when it becomes the sole means of emotional or sexual release. Overuse of self-stimulation can cause fatigue, not only sexually, but also in terms of general energy levels, adding to mental and physical depletion. This weariness can make it more difficult to sustain the energy and enthusiasm needed to participate in important everyday activities. As we all know, maintaining an active lifestyle through physical exercise is critical for older adults. It increases mobility, improves muscles, and benefits cardiovascular health. Excessive masturbation, on the other hand, might sap the passion or desire required for physical exercise, leading to a more sedentary lifestyle, which has its own set of health hazards in old age, such as an increased risk of heart disease, loss of muscle tone, and diminished flexibility. Beyond the physical consequences, another key factor to consider is how excessive self-stimulation affects interpersonal interactions at this later stage of life. While many older persons live alone and may use masturbation to satisfy their sexual needs, those in relationships confront extra problems. In long-term relationships, frequent or compulsive masturbating may gradually replace mutual intimacy. This transition can lead to an increasing emotional and physical distance between lovers, replacing the profound connection and affection that formerly bound them with a single act that leaves little room for mutual enjoyment. As a result, the relationship may feel distant, with one or both partners feeling ignored or unsatisfied emotionally and physically. For those in this predicament, striking a balance is critical. It is critical to ensure that masturbation does not replace intimacy with a partner, but rather complements the shared connection. This can protect it from becoming a barrier to loving and intimate interaction, which is essential for successful and healthy partnerships. Excessive masturbation can also trigger a slew of negative emotions, especially for people who were reared in circumstances where sexuality was considered forbidden, shameful, or something to hide. Many older persons still hold these deeply ingrained attitudes, which can cause internal conflict when they participate in self-stimulation. Masturbation may provide pleasure for some people, but it is often followed by emotions of guilt, humiliation, or regret. This contradiction between the need for pleasure and the entrenched notion that such activities are ethically wrong can cause emotional distress, weighing heavily on their self-esteem and mental health. This continual internal conflict can worsen feelings of loneliness and isolation, as the individual may become locked in a loop of pleasure and self-judgment. The mental toll of this battle can undermine emotional health, resulting in worry, despair, and a low sense of self-worth. It is critical to understand that these feelings are not uncommon, especially among people who grew up in more conservative or authoritarian societies. However, confronting these feelings and striving towards self-acceptance can be extremely liberating. In conclusion, while masturbation in old age is not dangerous when done in moderation and can potentially provide several physical and emotional benefits, it is critical to be aware of the potential drawbacks of over-reliance on self-stimulation. Finding a good balance, especially for those in relationships, is critical to ensure that masturbation is a positive feature of one's sexual and mental well-being, rather than a source of isolation or shame. As we get older, self-awareness and self-compassion become even more crucial for living a satisfying, balanced life. In these instances, it is critical to recognize that sexuality, especially in the later stages of life, is a natural, beautiful, and profoundly positive component of human existence. It should never be burdened down by excessive guilt or shame. The ability to connect with one's body through sexual pleasure, even in old age, is not only natural, but also an important source of self-expression and emotional release. However, when masturbation becomes an emotional getaway, substituting genuine human contact, it may indicate a more serious problem that requires addressing. In such cases, it is critical to seek alternative sources of emotional support, such as therapy, counseling, or reconnecting with loved ones. These forms of connection can provide much-needed emotional nutrition that extends beyond the ephemeral pleasure of self-stimulation. Many people are concerned about the long-term physical hazards involved with masturbation in their senior age. This is where it is critical to refute the recurrent falsehoods that have created so much concern for many people. Contrary to popular perception, there is no convincing medical proof that masturbation causes lasting harm to sexual organs or accelerates the aging process. Furthermore, research have consistently demonstrated that masturbation is not associated with significant illnesses such as prostate cancer or sexual dysfunctions such as erectile dysfunction or impotence. These myths simply serve to instill unwarranted worry, particularly among older persons who may already feel insecure about their changing bodies. However, moderation remains the key to getting the full benefits of masturbation while avoiding negative side effects. While excessive masturbation poses no long-term health dangers, it might cause physical weariness over time. When energy is released on a regular basis and is not balanced by proper rest or sustenance, people can feel physically and psychologically exhausted. Another possible side effect of overindulgence is a long-term decline in libido. The act of fulfilling sexual desire itself, when done excessively, can lessen one's drive, resulting in a long-term sense of unhappiness or frustration. Masturbation in old age, when done with mindfulness and moderation, has numerous physical and emotional advantages. Physically, it supports healthy blood circulation and retains vaginal tissue flexibility, which aids in the maintenance of sexual function. It can also be an effective tool for emotional release, especially during times of stress, anxiety, or loneliness. For many, it provides an opportunity to reconnect with their own body, reinforcing their sense of self-worth and vitality. However, as with all things, balance is required. If masturbation begins to consume an excessive amount of one's time or becomes a crutch that overshadows other vital elements of life, it is necessary to consider what is fueling this compulsion. Is it loneliness, worry, or a loss of emotional connection? Whatever the underlying source, it is critical to confront these challenges head-on. Seeking healthier ways to address emotional and physical needs, whether through hobbies, social contacts, or physical activities such as yoga or walking, can help to restore a more balanced attitude to pleasure and well-being. In conclusion, while masturbation is a natural and useful habit in old age, it is critical to approach it with a sense of its limitations. When used in moderation, it can provide tremendous physical and emotional satisfaction, while also enhancing mental clarity and sexual health. However, it is critical to recognize when technology becomes a substitute for more meaningful human interactions or begins to have a negative effect on other aspects of life. By striking a careful balance, older folks can reap the rewards of self-satisfaction without losing sight of the larger emotional and social relationships that enhance life. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more informative stuff like this. Your contribution allows us to continue bringing these important debates to light.